Hello, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing good today. Good night. Good night. I hope everyone's doing good. I'm always happy when people are doing good, right? Always happy to see you all tonight. Um, let's see. Always happy to see you um, awake, ready to go, right? Late at night in New York. So much happening. So much is happening. That's the beautiful part about it. That it's all happening. Um, why did it that? I don't know. Okay. So I hope everyone's doing good. I'm just duplicating my work. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing good. I want to jump right into it and let's talk about the topic at hand, right? Let's talk about the topic at hand. Let's talk about the rich and the poor, why the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and a lot of people feel like it's a lot of excuses, right? But it's not. That's not the case. We're gonna go hot and heavy this time. Hot and heavy. So don't get upset. All right, don't get upset. We're gonna go hot and heavy. So don't get upset at the content and what I'm gonna do, right? Gonna be a lot of interesting topics that I'm covering. Get right into it.
And spend it in a community where you don't live, the community where you live gets poorer and poorer, and the community where you spend your money gets richer and richer. Power is never given, it is taken. And it is only taken by people who are organized, disciplined, and clear about what they want. Everything else is just conversation. Anytime you take your dollar out of your community and spend it in a community where you don't live, the community where you live gets poorer and poorer, and the community where you spend your money gets richer and richer.
You hear those words, right? Hear those words and keep those words in mind as we go through this podcast. Keep these words in mind, and you're gonna keep those words in mind, right? While we go through this podcast, right? Keep those words in mind. So, right, I want you to keep those words in mind. Those words that I use to understand what I'm talking about, right? Let me turn on the comments. Um, why is it not showing here? Edit. Let me see. Okay. So I don't know why it wasn't showing on Instagram. But I want you to listen to those words of Malcolm X. The words are very powerful and impactful, right? Um, right? The words are very impactful. I always want you to take things into consideration that the words are always impactful of what you do say, what you don't say, right? Okay, so um, let's do it. Okay, let's remove Instagram um, from the whole thing, and then let's create a new one, right? Okay. Let's do a public. Sorry, I'm working on Instagram right now. It's acting up today. So bear with me for that 1 minute while I fix it. Is it the content? Sometimes they don't like some content, right? They don't like the content, right? And so when they don't like the content, things like that happen, right? So let's restart the Instagram. Let's go. Okay, people. We restarted Instagram. I'm my own tech support. Right about now, I'm my own tech support, right? So now it's working. Instagram is working. Let's play that video one more time. It's very powerful. This video is very powerful. So I want you to take this into consideration when we talk about Iran, when we talk about everything that's happening in not only in the Middle East but in the world and in local politics, state politics, all across the board. I want you to take his advice into consideration, right? I want you to take his advice into consideration, and Malcolm X's advice, always powerful. A person of change, a person that wants to see uh, everything changing, right? A person that was very powerful, impactful, and respected in many communities for his words and his actions, right? Um, very respected. So let's listen to his words one more time.
And spend it in a community where you don't live, the community where you live gets poorer and poorer, and the community where you spend your money gets richer and richer.
Why? Is that by design?
Power is never given, it is taken. And it is only taken by people who are organized, disciplined, and clear about what they want. Everything else is just conversation. So anytime you take your dollar out of your community,
right? Everything is just conversation. Everything else is just conversation. In other words, don't listen to the noise. Because when you listen to the noise, that's when you have problems, right? When you listen to the noise, that's when you get confused, get shrouded in it. You're not successful because you're listening to the noise around you instead of listening to learn, right? Listening to learn and not getting caught up in the nonsense of the political landscape of all the things that are happening. Do me a favor, everyone. Share the live. Share it with as many people as you can as I try to expand on this live journey, right? I'm embarking on, right? as I expand to newer neighborhoods and more people listen to me, more channels allow me to share it, like it, even if I get shadow banned, because I will be shadow banned because of the fact that they don't like my content, right? They definitely don't like my content. It's going to be powerful content, and not a lot of people know about it or know about the history of all the things that are happening, right? A lot of people don't know the history and American history or international history because it's not taught in schools anymore. It's not really taught in schools anymore. Unfortunately, all of this stuff has been edited out. So our common history is edited out. So we are just used to dealing it with it in our own way, right? Right? We're used to dealing with it in our own way, and that's just a reality, right? We're just dealing with power because power respects no one. It's true what um, Malcolm was saying. Power respects no one, right? Power respects no one. You have to earn you have to earn respect. You don't get respect automatically. You have to earn respect, right? And that's the problem now that people expect respect automatically. They don't feel like they have to earn the respect. And so we're living in unprecedented times, right? Let's listen to Charles Barkley when he has.
But what America really has become is rich people against poor people. And I wish people would understand that politicians do a good job of making us fight with each other, but it's really rich people against poor people. They try to make it about black, white, immigration, homosexuality, and all these different things. But what it is rich people making poor people not like each other. And until we address that, we're never going to be successful. But what America really has become is rich people against poor people. And I wish people would understand that politicians do a good job of making us fight with each other, but it's really rich.
You heard those words that he said? You heard those words, right? It's really rich people versus poor people. They make us fight each other, therefore we won't call out their actions, right? So a lot of people are saying that the whole Iran is about money, right? It's about oil, about
people against poor people.
Oil.
They try to make it about black, white, immigration, homosexuality, and all these different things. But what it is rich people making poor people not like each other. And until we address that, we're never going to be successful. But what America really has become.
Was this before he was let go? Or what? Was this when before he was let go from the program, or he signed off? And I want you to, with sticking to the topic of rich people, right? Let's talk about the Epstein files, right? I know nobody wants to talk about it, but why is Donald Trump not being deposed? Why is that there not a deposition of Donald Trump, right? Why is Donald Trump not being deposed, right? It's not the first time that our president had to do a deposition. This is what Hillary.
And finally, do you think that Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee?
Absolutely. You know, I was a lawyer, and as a lawyer, you would look for pattern and practice. If you were deposing a witness in a case that you were trying, if you were in court, what did you know about this person? What you knew could influence how you question that person, how you tried the case. Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for sexual assault by a jury of his peers. 9 members of a jury found him liable in the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll. That is behavior. That fits a pattern if one were looking for a pattern. He has also been convicted on 34 felony counts for attempting to hide his relationship with a escort and then to commit business fraud to prevent it from becoming public in the 2016 campaign, which was ultimately election interference.
And went hard on
So
Donald
if
Trump.
I were running the committee or I were involved in this investigation, I would be looking for people who maybe had some prior conduct that might
Not to say
be
she was a
relevant
senator.
to
Hillary Clinton
either
was a senator.
money or crimes. And yes, I think that it would be in keeping with the scope of the investigation of this committee to set up a deposition with President Trump. I know he's been deposed many, many, many times. He's taken the
So she's saying that she pushed it back on Trump, that Trump should be the one getting a deposition, not Hillary and Bill Clinton, but Trump should also be getting a deposition and should be called in to answer questions in front of the Oversight Committee. And they released it within only a few hours. They released Hillary Clinton's testimony, Bill Clinton's testimony within hours, but they still can't release the full Epstein files, right? This is blowing up on the Republicans and both Democrats and Republicans that didn't want to release the Epstein files. It's blowing up on both of their faces. And I just have to speak the truth. This is very disgusting and very worrying that these elites are behaving this way, right? And I'm not defending Clinton either, right? Right?
the Fifth Amendment many, many hundreds of times. So I'm not saying you're going to get a lot of information. But given what's in the files and given past and prior conduct, he would be on my witness list.
And finally, do you think that Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee?
Absolutely. You know, I was a lawyer, and as a lawyer, you would look for pattern and practice. If you were deposing a witness in a case that you were trying, if you were in court, what did you know about this person?
Hillary went hard on
What you
Trump,
knew
right?
could influence how you questioned that person, how you tried the case. Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for sexual assault.
Hillary went hard on Trump. She didn't hold back. She pretty much called him out and said, wait up. He's the one with the record. He's the one that has dirty hands and it's been very close to Epstein. So why are we being deposed instead of Donald Trump being deposed? She put it on them very well, right? She put it right on them. And that's what we want to hear, right? And the main issue is that Donald Trump has surrounded himself with a lot of yes people.
Speaker, the
These are the
president's
people.
cabinet.
This is the people he surrounded himself with. Yes people that do whatever he wants, right? And say yes to him and agree with him and always agree with Donald Trump, right? They always agree with Donald Trump. They never challenge his point of view. They never challenge his perspective. And those are the people he has surrounded himself with, unfortunately. See, these are his cabinet members that are walking into the State of the Union. And double tap on the screen, everyone. Like the live. Double tap on the screen, like the live, share the live. Share it on other pages, share it on groups, and send it to other people, and let's get this ball rolling. It's very important that we talk about the issues happening across America. Even though you might not agree with me, we need to speak about it, right?
Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
So this is the yes men. He surrounded himself with yes men, people that agree with him, that won't say no to him, that just straight up won't challenge his authority and feel that they have to cater to him and to whatever he's feeling, and in order to stay in the circle, the inner circle, right? And which is dangerous, because then you cannot foresee the negativity or the bad, right?
There were two interesting threads that I think came out of Mondani's victory that I
This
think
is
are
JD
worth
Vance.
us understanding because they're reflective of where the broader American left is. His victory was the product of a lot of young people who live reasonably comfortable lives, but see that their elite
He's calling out
degrees
the
aren't
elite.
really delivering what they expected. It is not poor Americans. It is not about dispossession. It's about elite disaffection and elite anger. Mamdani himself
Elite.
is such an appealing instrument to the left. He captures so many of the movement's apparent contradictions in a single human being. A guy who describes the Palestinian cause as central to his identity, yet holds views like abortion on demand or using taxpayer-funded money to fund transgender surgeries for minors. These views, of course, are completely incomprehensible on the streets of Gaza. This guy represents that contradiction. How can you believe in the cause of the Intifada while also holding views that are completely anathema to those people? And the answer is because he's not building a positive program. He's not trying to build prosperity. He's trying to tear something down. And he's very effective at articulating all of the things that the far left hates in modern America. There were two interesting threads that I think came out of Mondani's victory that I think are worth us understanding because they're reflective of where the broader American left is. His victory was the product of a lot of young people who live reasonably comfortable lives, but see that their elite degrees aren't really delivering what they expected. It is not poor Americans. It is not about dispossession. It's about elite disaffection and
It's
elite
a totally
anger.
different point
Mamdani
of view
himself is such an
from-
appealing instrument to the left. He captures so many.
So it's a totally different point of view from what Malcolm X was saying, right? Right? Totally different point of
Anytime
view.
you take your dollar out of your community and spend it in a community where you don't live, the community where you live gets poorer and poorer, and the community where you spend your money gets richer and richer. Power is never given. It is taken. And it is only taken by people who are organized, disciplined, and clear about what they want. Everything else is just conversation.
Everything else
Anytime-
is just conversation. Everything else is just a distraction. So this is a distraction from the real issues and the real problems that are happening across America, right? These are the issues that are happening across America. And
so if you really did want
let's listen to
the
Rachel
Iranian
Maddow.
people themselves to rise up in some kind of popular uprising and totally change their form of government, if you wanted the beleaguered and oppressed Iranian people to organize very quickly into a new populist political force to rise up against, among other things, the security services there that have been massacring them by the thousands this month and last. If you wanted that to happen, you probably could have taken some steps to help that happening, to make sure they can organize and can communicate, right? Maybe you would have turned the internet back on.
Saludo.
And when you, Donald Trump, in your baseball hat, proclaimed on that weird taped message today that the Iranian police and the security forces and the Revolutionary Guard must surrender, they must lay down their weapons, as Donald Trump said this morning at 2:30. If that was what you wanted to happen, because you wanted the domestic security situation to become less dangerous for the Iranian people to rise up and overthrow their government. If you actually wanted to make that happen, instead of just saying it, you as the U.S. government, maybe you as the U.S. government in coalition with other allies that you might have bothered to bring on board, you might have given the Iranian police and Revolutionary Guard and security services some instructions on how to surrender and lay down their weapons. Some path to do that, which Trump did not.
So did Trump really care?
As I say, you might have taken steps to turn the internet back on in Iran. So the people there, the Iranian people could reach each other and the world, and so the world could reach them too. If you actually wanted the Iranian people to have a chance rising up against the regime that has oppressed them for so many decades, you might not have gutted the crucial Farsi language Voice of America communications platform and put it in the hands of a soft focus election denier local news anchor who is most famous for proclaiming the fraudulence of American elections.
So do you think that the United States really wants the Iranian people to rise up? Thank you for double tapping the screen, everyone. Double tap the screen, like the live, share the live, send it to as many people as possible. I'm going to try to combine them, not yet, with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm streaming separately on separate devices, but that's just something different
why
to
is
try.
Maybe it's for oil, as the president daydreams himself into another 19th century war fantasy of conquering some foreign land he doesn't understand or care about, but he would like to rob them of their natural resources. Maybe he thinks Iran and its proud 92 million people will happily and easily become a new colony in an empire helmed by an American emperor. Maybe that's what he thinks. But as this now becomes the 7th country Trump has bombed just since being back in office for 1 year, cui bono? Who benefits? It seems like a disturbingly easy question to answer. Why has the US government been pushed in this direction? Follow the money. Why is Donald Trump willing to let that happen? Well, with this president, sadly, we keep learning over and over and over again that the easiest answer is almost always the truest one. He does not play four-dimensional chess. There's just him and what we know he's like, right? This president appears to have grown his enormous and excitable new appetite for military intervention in just this 1 year back in office. Apparently because he just thinks war is easy. It's exciting. It earns him not only close attention, but even occasionally plaudits from the very serious people who are professionally inclined to believe that there's some rationale, some strategery, some good thinking behind the start of every war, particularly in the Middle East.
He has a strategy.
Starting a war, launching airstrikes, doing this sort of thing. It gets him a ton of attention.
What's the strategy?
He gets to do it unilaterally, he contends.
But what's the strategy? People can't still figure out what the strategy is. And they keep flip-flopping on what they're trying to accomplish. They're saying that they're just going to keep bombarding them for months and for years. And each one of those weapons that gets dropped is a couple of $1 million. Imagine a month of every day dropping bombs on the country, how much money that will cost. Billions and billions of dollars after giving the rich more than $2 trillion in tax breaks. Donald Trump is doing what he did to his businesses. He's bankrupting America, right? And you're saying, no, how can you? America has unlimited funds. America can't be bankrupted. But guess what? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe America can be bankrupted. Maybe we don't have unlimited funds. Maybe we shouldn't keep borrowing unlimited funds to fund these wars. while people don't have basic health care, don't have basic, living wages, right? Maybe it's not a good idea
Surely
to
there's
do
no
this to
question that he
people.
would seek a declaration of war from Congress or even an authorization
He
for the
doesn't
use of
care about
military force.
Congress.
He sees
He
war as
doesn't
something
care.
he gets to do on his own say-so in a baseball hat from home. That is exciting, that is controversial, that is all about him. And not for nothing, it's the world's greatest change of subject.
Yeah,
So why is it?
the greatest change of subject. in
Maybe
the
it's for
Epstein
oil,
files.
as the president
Is
daydreams
it
himself
oil?
into another 19th century war fantasy of conquering some foreign land he doesn't understand or care
It's
about,
like a
but he
video
would like
game.
to rob them of their natural resources.
Mm.
Maybe he thinks Iran and its proud 92 million people will happily and easily become a new colony in an empire helmed by an American emperor. Maybe that's what he thinks.
Is that what he thinks?
But as this now becomes the 7th country Trump has bombed just since being back in office for 1 year,
Is that accurate? 7
Cui bono.
countries?
Who benefits? It seems like a disturbingly easy question to answer. Why has the US government been pushed in this direction? Follow the money. Why is Donald Trump willing to let that happen?
7. So, do you know that Donald Trump has bombed 7 countries since he has taken office, even though he said that he was the president of peace? Let's listen to Marco Rubio and his testimony on, not his testimony, but his words, his testimonial on exactly what he thinks the strategy is, which is different than Donald Trump's strategy. So they can't get it all. They're not on the same page. Now they're telling American citizens to leave the Middle East. But don't you think that should have been something that they planned ahead of time? That they were like, okay, we're going to do this. Let's get our U.S. citizens out of these countries and let them know ahead of time, hey, we need to get you out. So pretty much they just abandoned all these people in turbulent times.
The hardest
And
hits
it's bad.
are yet to come from the U.S.
It's bad.
military. The next phase will be even more punishing on Iran than it is right now. Someone was screaming, how long will it take? I don't know how long it'll take. We have objectives. We will do this as long as it takes to achieve those objectives, and we will achieve those objectives. The world will be a safer place when we're done with this operation. The hardest hits are yet to come from the U.S. military. The next phase will be even more punishing on Iran than it is right now. Someone was screaming, how long will it take? I don't know how long it'll take. We have objectives. We will do this as long as it takes to achieve those objectives.
If you wiped out the leadership, right? You wiped out the leadership. What are your objectives? If you wiped out the leadership of Iran, now I want to know what are your objectives, because now you're just dropping indiscriminate bombs on which targets, right? Military targets, because there's reports of buildings being hit, hospitals being hit, schools being hit, because you don't have unlimited targets, and you can't keep hitting the same targets over and over and over. So, what is going on? What is the strategy? What is the strategy? Total destruction and annihilation of the whole country? What is the ultimate goal? And what is the exit strategy, right? We always have to have an exit strategy. We found out with Afghanistan, we found out with Iraq, we found out with many other wars that getting in is easy. Getting out is the hard part, right? Getting in is easy. Getting out is the hard part. How does this story end? How does this story end? And it ties in to the rich and to the poor and the working people, because I keep saying over and over, the working people are the ones that are affected by this, right? By this strategy or this approach. Working people are the ones that need to go to the military because they feel that's the only way they could own a home, have some type of upward mobility to be able to move up, at least somewhat in their life, to be able to move up and live a better life, right? So isn't that
And we
what the
will achieve
Iranian
those
people want to
objectives.
do?
The world will be a safer place when we're done with this operation. The hardest hits are yet to come from the U.S. military.
So
The next phase will
is that not what most people want? Don't most people just want better lives? Right? Don't most people just want better lives?
Let me provide a brief update on Operation Epic Fury. Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime. Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully.
I don't know. He can't convince me. I don't know. He's convincing a lot of people that this is a justified way of doing things, right? Let's listen to this video. This is interesting. This is a breakdown.
If not stopped,
by this
Iran
streamer.
could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to have
2006.
to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of
1995.
producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
According to Netanyahu, Iran has been days away from having a nuclear weapon for 30 years. So it should make you wonder why, when just yesterday, Oman's foreign minister, who was negotiating a deal with Iran, said we were close to having a deal and that Iran was willing to have more restrictions in place than were in the 2015 nuclear deal, Israel came in and derailed the conversations just to start a war less than 24 hours later.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved.
What they say? Follow the money, right? That's what Rachel Maddow was saying. Follow the money. You follow the money, you get answers in the Epstein files. You get answers in Iran. You get answers in the whole political establishment. You just get answers, right? Right? You just get answered, right? You just get answers once you do this. And this is another person in New York, the speaker of the city council. She's trying to introduce buffer zones. She doesn't want
every person who freezes to death in this city is a reminder that systems that are designed to protect
He's
human
worried
life
about the poor.
are failing the people who need them most.
How did Mayor Zohran Mamdani's administration handle that recent cold snap in New York City that left 18 people dead? That's what the city council is working to evaluate right behind me in an oversight hearing. And a big topic was whether or not the government should bring people in for help involuntarily.
How can a person refusing to come indoors in freezing weather, where they are obviously at great risk of potentially dying, not be assessed to be a danger to themselves?
So clinicians really are looking to see if the individual meets the twofold test, which is, are they exhibiting signs of mental illness, and are they a danger to themselves or others?
Joanne Ariola was the only Republican city council member who's asking questions at today's hearing.
We have 45 to 4,600 approximately street homeless. street unhoused.
So this is just now all of a sudden they're worried about the poor. They're worried about the chance of the poor to have a chance. And so where were they worrying about the poor for all these years that they were in elected office or in powerful structures? Now all of a sudden they're worried about the poor. They're worried about people freezing. But this all could be solved if we didn't spend so much money on war or in war, or we're throwing billions and billions, trillions of dollars away right now as we speak.
So what our bills do is they direct the NYPD to create a buffer zone. The word buffer is actually in the bills, and it creates buffer zones around houses of worship.
So this is another thing that's worrying people. Creating buffer zones. That means that you're not allowed to protest outside of a church, a synagogue, anything, or any place where there's religious observance. But then they restrict it, but you can't protest, but then police are allowed to go in. I don't understand the contradiction here. Listen to what she has to say. Mind you, this is the person that doesn't want to tax the rich, but she's worried about people freezing, not having a home over or roof over their head, but she doesn't want to tax the rich, right? She doesn't want to tax the rich, but she wants the poor to have a roof over their head, right?
And around schools. And the point of the buffer zones is, again, people can peacefully protest, that's fine, but what they can't do is prevent people from going in and out of their house of worship or engaging in really intimidating and harassing behavior. So what our bills do is they direct the NYPD to create a buffer zone. The word buffer is actually in the bills, and it creates buffer zones around how.
This is the biggest contradiction, right? They want to help the poor, but they don't want money to come to the city to help the poor stay out of the streets. And then she also doesn't want anyone to be able to protest a synagogue or a church or a mosque. So what is your stance? Are you for the working people? Are you for the poor? Or are you against the poor? It's confusing what she's trying to say, right? Very confusing what she's trying to say.
Houses of worship and around schools. And the point of the buffer zones is, again, people can peacefully protest, that's fine, but what they can't do is prevent people from going in and out of their house of worship or engaging in really intimidating and harassing behavior. So what our bills do is.
So that's her point of view, right? Right, that's her point of view. And this is the real issue. Right? This is why
do you guys
Republicans
understand why Fox News and Republicans were going batshit crazy that Zohran Mamdani was paying $30 to $45 an hour to New York City residents to shovel snow?
You know why they're worried? Because telling poor people, working people, that you deserve a living wage, that you deserve a wage that you can pay your bills with, that you don't have to struggle, that you don't have to work 80 hours a week, that you don't got to work 3 jobs, 4 jobs to be able to pay your rent or pay your bills. You'll be able to pay all your bills with one job and a stable, secure city job. That's too much to be spreading that message, right, to the regular people.
It wasn't
right?
To be petty. Zohran Mamdani was breaking through an absolutely corrupt system where American workers get screwed, and Republicans know this. I want you guys to think about this. New York City pays on average $90 million a year on snow plow contracts. How does it work? The city goes out for bids. And a lot of times the city council members will pick some of the most expensive bids or specific kinds of bids to benefit their donors. So if there's a snowplow company owner that donated to a city council member's campaign or what have you, they win the bid. And who benefits from all this money being paid from the city? The contractor, because a good chunk of it goes into their profits. And the employees are paid at best minimum wage. And $90 million, that's a hefty cost to New York City taxpayers. Zohran Mamdani cut them all out of the equation and became the employer for New York City residents. When he paid them between $30 to $45 an hour, times 2,500 citizens who were hired, that came out to under $150,000. Do you know how much money that saved taxpayers? Do you know how much that benefited residents to get paid a livable wage for that period of time? Do you guys even get the threat here? This is a big threat to the toxic levels of capital.
But think about all the lawsuits that from people falling down, from people suing for negligence or for suing the city when they're passing city property. Think about all the money that he saved the city just in lawsuits, and this is what they're angry about. You're right. This is what they're angry about. They don't want the regular people to be able to survive.
And corruption.
Yeah,
And Zohran
right.
Mamdani is working completely around it. And let me tell you something, there's not a New Yorker that hasn't been praising the condition of the walkways because of these workers. Do you guys understand why Fox News and Republicans were going batshit crazy that Zohran Mamdani was paying $30 to $45 an hour to New York City residents to shovel snow? It wasn't to be petty. Zohran
Let's listen to
Mamdani
this again.
was breaking through an absolutely corrupt system where American workers get screwed and Republicans.
So see, the contractors got cut out. So the contractors are going to be upset. They don't want this. And they're the ones that pay lobbyists and pay, people to advocate for their position. So they definitely don't want this to be happening in New York City or anywhere else, right? This will be 2 more videos, and then I'm going to call it a night. But thank you so much for joining me. Share the video. Please share, like, follow. Share it to your family members. Tell your family members to follow. Tell your friends to follow. Tell your relatives across the world to follow in every state. And just share it to strangers. Share it to everyone. Let's make this broadcast successful. And so I could be allowed to speak the truth. One last thing. This is a big worry about a lot of people. We talked about the Epstein files. We talked about the homeless encampments. These are all issues that has to do with the rich and the poor.
Mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections.
Are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances. And a little bit, we need to work in the parliament because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need we need a truth, yes, everywhere in the battlefield, in the sky, and the sea, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say
we are ready.
during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
Yeah. So you mean if we happen to be in a
He
war
said the
with
quiet thing out loud.
no more elections?
He said the quiet part aloud.
An election in your country.
Oh,
Yes, of course. Well,
he said the quiet part out loud, right? So, did he say the quiet part out loud? Wow. He said it. And let's listen to the opening video and the secondary video that I open with. Let's listen to it now. After you heard all the context, all the explanation, let's listen to it again.
Anytime you take your dollar out of your community and spend it in a community where you don't live, the community where you live gets poorer and poorer, and the community where you spend your money gets richer and richer.
Uh-huh.
Power is never given. It is taken. And it is only taken by people who are organized, disciplined, and clear about what they want.
Yeah.
Everything else is just conversation.
Everything else is
Anytime
just
you take your
conversation.
dollar out-
It's noise, right? It's just noise. They want to make noise to get you distracted from the real issues. That there's no money, that the economy is not doing that
But what
well.
America really has become is rich people against poor people. And I wish people would understand that politicians do a good job of making us fight with each other, but it's really rich people against poor people. They try to make it about black, white, immigration, homosexuality, and all these different things. But what it is rich people making poor people not like each other. And until we address that, we're never going to be successful. But what America really has become is rich people against poor people. And I wish people would understand that politicians do a good job of making us fight with each other, but it's really rich people against poor people. They try to make it about black, white, immigration, homosexuality, and all these different things. But what it is rich people making poor people not like each other. And until we address that, we're never going to be successful. But what America really has become is rich people against poor people. And I wish people would understand that politicians do a good job of making us fight with each other, but it's really rich people against poor people. They try to make it about black, white, immigration, homosexuality, and all these different things. But what it is rich people making poor people not like each other.
Advice from Charles Barkley, right? Charles Barkley always gives the best advice. Oh, another guy that gives real good advice. Forgot to put him on, right?
Go do in Iran or something? Can't they hire PMCs? They can, but you know, there's limits there. Yeah, the Dubai is going to send in Aiden Ross, Andrew Tate, and numerous kick streamers to annoy. Also, American soldiers reportedly in Kuwait during your interview. Wait, what? Cluster munitions getting through the defenses. Iranian ballistic attack on Israel ongoing. MRMs equipped with cluster warheads have reportedly been used. U.S. soldiers in Kuwait? What? Local reports confirm American soldiers were in the Iranian attack in Kuwait. The rescue team helicopters apparently did not reach them in time. Okay, is there any no warning, no sirens? Oh no, this is the initial one. 6 U.S. service members in Iranian strike to hit makeshift operation centers in Kuwait. This is from the first round. The death toll from that event at the Shuhaiba port has risen to 6. U.S. Central Command announced on Monday afternoon. Yeah, no, this is when they blew up that container. There's apparently there is a new statement from the IRGC. The one I'm looking at right now, actually. During a drone attack by the IRGC Navy on one of the gathering places of American terrorists in Dubai, UAE, and more than 160 terrorist riflemen were present. According to field reports, American casualties in this combined drone strike by the combat units of the RGC Navy are estimated to be more than 40 and 70 wounded. Okay, that's a bit of an overestimation, I think. Israel getting lit up. Isn't this old? I can't tell anymore because every night we see the same image over and over again. Wait, drops I heard reports that the numbers are way higher. What, from the...
It's like you can't tell what video is from when because we keep seeing the same type of videos, similar videos of bombardments across the board. But they're saying the numbers must be higher because we can't really trust this administration to give
Iranian side? The Iranian side's always going to...
Nobody. We can't trust any of them. to give us the right numbers for what's happening for the war, right? How you doing, Miko?
Overestimate the casualty numbers on the American side. That would be insane. Yeah, of course, Israel is saying that cluster munitions are being used. It's illegal. Is crazy. Tampa, as of 4 p.m. Eastern, March 2, 6 U.S. service members of major combat operations continue. The identities of the fallen are being withheld until 24 hours after next of kin notification. No, this is older. This is the first one.
Yeah.
This claim from the IRGC is recent, from literally an hour ago. Okay. This also this happened during my interview. Breaking visual confirmation of an interceptor failing and impacting in Jordan near Muwaf Salti Air Base. The power in the area can be seen going out immediately after the strike. Whoa, what the?
They're cutting off the electricity.
Oh,
They
shit.
cut it off their wireless.
Looks like another possible cluster has struck Israel. Bro, they are peppering that. Jesus Christ. The United States is preparing for a major uptick in attacks on Iran over the next 24 hours, heavily focused on destroying the country's production. Yeah, this is what they said that they were going to do. What the were you guys doing the first 2 days then? Is my question.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry. That's right. They were too busy murdering school children. That's what they were doing in the first couple of days, assassinating, trying to do a decapitation strike on virtually every IRGC general and the head of state. That's what they were too busy doing. And then for the last 48 hours, that was the first 24 hours, 100 plus little girls between the ages of 7 and 12. And then in the last 48 hours, they've just been literally pummeling Tehran for no reason. I'm a Kuwaiti and they don't put on sirens until after the I hear the before the sirens. Absolutely crazy. Impact reported near Tel Aviv. Oof. I didn't even, where'd that come from?
They've been going
Oh,
crazy.
right there. New barrage on Tel Aviv from Fox.
Taking place over Israel's second largest city of Tel Aviv.
And
You
Trey,
stand
what are
by-
you?
Okay.
You're going to tell, and
Where
you'll
do you
be
think of
able
Iran?
to tell if this one is taken out by the defense system.
Yeah, right now we can hear a number of explosions in the distance.
how you doing? How you
Some
been?
interceptions on the outskirts of
What do
the
you
city.
think about
But
Iran
you
and
just saw
everything that's
live
happening
there.
in Iran?
I think it's very precarious and dangerous, and
Yeah. This is a very dangerous area where, tensions have always been high, and there's not that many democracies. There's a lot of tension between the countries, and there was like a kind of like a peace that they had between each other, like not to bother each other and to stay out of each other's way. So now it's like they're just like going at it against each other, right? Because it's like the last war, and they just like everyone's
I
just.
wouldn't consider the Iran very peaceful, but
I'm not saying that they were peaceful. I'm not saying Iran is peaceful. I'm saying that there was like a truce where everyone just stayed in their own area and didn't interfere with each other. You get it? Not that they're peaceful, but that it could be worse. And it's probably gonna get worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, to me, I do subscribe to
The stream through the sky as
I mean, it
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad
as
things.
clearly the Iranians have launched
Iran.
a very large barrage, and some of these missiles
Yeah.
appear to have made it past Israel's defense system, the Iron Dome. Remember, the Israelis have a tiered defense system. They have at the lowest level the Iron Dome, then they have David Sling and the Arrow 2 and 3 systems. Now, the Trump administration was aware that the Iranians would launch a counterattack. They provided the Israelis with additional air defense, including the Patriot and THAAD systems. But still, this is not a perfect layered defense. It is
Bro,
like we done it with
if it actually comes out that it was Israel that bombed Aramco, okay, and it comes out that Israel is the one who's doing, like Mossad is doing the embassy strikes, which I don't even think that it'll come out. I just don't.
What was it?
It's just
Israel
nasty.
mentioned that, basically, the next closest threat other than Iran is Turkey, which kind of scares
Yeah.
the shit out of me because that is. I wouldn't. I don't know if it's like an ally of the U.S., but it's definitely like has always been a joint operation.
We have a huge air base in Turkey, so it's always been like a partner.
We've got a couple there.
Yeah.
We have some other installations there. It's not
Yeah.
just Air Force, but it's kind of like South Korea.
Yeah,
right?
but the
Where,
thing is,
you know,
the thing is that Turkey's part of NATO, right? So if Iran attacked Turkey, then it will force NATO to make a decision that they have to get involved, which is spiraling it more out of control. Because if NATO gets involved, then Russia might get involved, and then China might get involved in the whole, so that's why it's so dangerous that it can ignite a possible world war, because now we're getting into a turbulent area that's already been in war for thousands of years, right? That's the problem, that they've been in war for a very long time. They had holy wars, and they had serious wars in the past that have lasted hundreds of years, thousands of years. And so this is an area that is turbulent by nature, and in human history has been turbulent in human history. So this is like that spark that you didn't want to ignite, right? That's why every other president, every other country has not done this, no matter how bad the Iranians speak or how much they threaten other countries, or like no matter how much they menace the United States. We never got involved because we knew that it was going to be 10 times worse than Iraq, because Iraq was a smaller country and doesn't have the arsenal that Iran has, and doesn't have the amount of soldiers, and it's not as organized, right? So
well, I would regarding Iran though, like
yeah.
there is like 3 or 4 different like types of populations there. It's not like, and they all have roots,
but it's the most insane thing that any state could do in this moment. Israeli media is freaking out. Israeli channels describe the cassette warhead of the Iranians as insane. They don't have any air defense at all.
I agree.
So, it's just,
it looks like debris from a struck missile.
Yeah.
That's not debris from a struck missile, I don't think. That is the missile. Can you explain why the embassy is a bigger deal? Because the American embassy in Riyadh is literally U.S. soil. It is debris. Clusters wouldn't glow.
Yeah.
U.S. President Donald J. Trump held a phone call with Kurdish leaders in Iraq on potential events following ongoing U.S.-Israeli operations against Iran.
They had a good plan.
I've told you. This is why you come in here and listen to me instead of some dumb bullshit. That's why I say Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. For tomorrow.
They're telling the viewers the American citizens to get out from the Middle East. Too late, right? They should have. I thought that's something they would have planned ahead of time, to have evacuations and have people to be flown out or to be evacuated, but they didn't do that, right? They had that window 2 weeks ago, a month ago, where they could have easily evacuated people, but they chose not to evacuate people, right?
yeah, I mean that's status quo, like you say.
Yeah.
Like that's how our government treats that.
Yeah.
Where they would rather just not say anything about it than to say something about it.
Exactly.
And just let it happen. So that's like you say, that's just how it's been operating for many years.
For many years, and they're saying that Trump fell for the trap, right? He fell for the rhetoric. Khomeini was already 87 years old. He was already on his way out. He wasn't going to live that much longer. He was very frail. People say that he wasn't really the one that was running the country anyway. There was other people that were helping him and making decisions for him anyway. So
they already installed the next two leaders, basically.
Exactly.
They've already replaced them. Like they
Exactly.
And that's the weird thing to me about this whole situation is Iran. Like you're trying to say that it was just like such a big surprise. It really wasn't, because Iran has been talking about fortifying against this for a long time now.
Tomorrow's news today. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. Okay? If you want to understand tomorrow's news, you come here to the Piker Broadcasting Service. And your voluntary contributions in the form of a $6 month subscription or a free one in the form of a
Trump would have waited another year.
Twitch Prime is what keeps this operation going. Your subscriptions in the form of gifted subs.
Yeah. I'm listening to you. What you said?
Oh.
I'm listening to you.
Are you talking to me or something?
Yeah, no, because it's like I'm just thinking that the way Marco Rubio is talking, the way Donald Trump is talking, the way each one of the cabinet members are talking, they're all contradicting each other. So it's like they don't have a clear message as to, or a master plan as to what they're trying to accomplish. I think it was more of like an impulse type of move, right? It was more of an impulse move. And at the end of the day, the people of Iran, the poor people in the world, the poor people in the Middle East are the ones that are going to be affected the most, right? They're the ones that the gas prices are going to shoot up. The natural gas prices are going to shoot up. The food prices are going to shoot up as a result.
Well, that's the gas prices is going to shoot up because it's kind of like, how like we shut down the Panama Canal for a while.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why that shot up. This same reason. I mean, those gas prices in China and Russia, dude, that shit, dude, they're gonna have to be paying out their asses.
I know, but we have Saudi Arabia, and that's already been drawn into the war because they're shooting missiles at them, a lot of missiles at them. Oman, United Arab Emirates.
It's a huge fallout.
Yeah, it's a big fallout because nowadays Beirut and a lot of countries are being forced into the war that they didn't expect it was gonna like expand to this level, but it expanded. That's what they're scared about. That how much can they expand?
And this is why I don't understand why people are surprised about it, because every country in the world has known for many years that this is Trump's plan.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why you're surprised about it.
No, he's been announcing it, but people thought it was just rhetoric. You understand? That's why people are surprised, because they thought it was just talk, that he wasn't gonna actually do it, that he was just threatening because they threatened him, so he was just threatening them back. People didn't think that Trump was gonna respond this way.
Yeah.
And
mostly people in our country, they were all like, "Oh my God, this is the worst ever now."
Yeah,
like,
because
but the world leaders that are involved in this right now, they've known for a long time.
they know what the intentions are. I know.
Yeah.
They know what the intentions are. They don't hide the intentions. They don't hide the intentions, even though they claim that they didn't know. I'm sure they say they were planning it for months. They have been planning this.
We were talking about Venezuela for at least 6 months before
Exactly.
it even happened.
Exactly. And Venezuela was, and Venezuela was part of the equation, right? Because they were getting 20 million barrels a day. So that was the calculation, Trump's calculation, that we need oil. We need oil bad. Therefore, we can stabilize the oil prices in case we can't get the oil supply from Saudi Arabia or from all these other countries in the area. So at least we're getting barrels of oil from Venezuela, right? So it was a calculated move, I believe, on
Well, yeah,
the part of
when
Trump.
you can't, when you're blocked from, accessing oil in your own country, you're going
Exactly.
to go find it somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
don't take this the wrong way, but if we didn't have those current rules on the books, and we didn't have to worry about whether or not Democrats were protecting our oil from
Everyone's protecting the oil.
You know what I'm saying?
But everyone's protecting the oil. And the end of the day, it's about money, right? It's about money. Both sides are playing it, but
we're going and finding it in other places.
they're both. But the
we
thing,
still have a plethora of oil in our country.
but
We
the
can
thing,
definitely
both sides are okay with this war. They're just playing the script, and they're playing their people. They like the Republicans and the Democrats both are all about the money and about the corporate interests and the elite interests. So they're okay with this war because they're just worried about making money in the end of the day. It's not really about morals or ethics.
Our oil prices are definitely going to go up because of it.
Of course, they already did shot up. The futures shot up more than 10%.
We could have avoided it all by allowing us to take our own oil in our own country.
But they don't think that way. They don't think
No,
that
they
way.
do, actually.
The rich only think about the penny pinching and make as much money as possible. That's the problem.
Again, I don't want to be mean or rude, but that's definitely 100% a Democratic thing.
I think
That's not even-
Republicans
not
and
even-
Democrats do the same thing. Stop defending one party or the other. I'm against both parties. I'm an independent. I'm not for the Democrats. I'm not for the Republicans. I'm for the people.
If you look at what happened in 2016, Trump wanted to use our own oil, and he
Yeah.
got blocked.
I understand.
So now that he's back, he's like, well, okay, I got blocked.
Trump is back, and so Trump is back. So what? I mean, I don't think he's the main driver. I think there's a lot of people that are backing him. Trump wouldn't be able to do the things he's doing unless there's powerful people saying, "Go ahead, we got your back. Do what you got to do. We'll
To
give
be
you
honest,
cover."
I'm pretty excited about the fact that we're actually working with the rest of the world instead of just, like, let's keep the status quo.
I mean, Ukraine can get settled. The war in Ukraine is still not settled, and it's still fighting, and there's still bombardments going on. And so people claim that China was providing drones to Iran, cheap drones.
I mean, again, if they had just worked with the United States government, they would not be doing that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But we shall see what happens. I gotta go to bed. It's already 11 something in the night in New York. But I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me live. And check out my YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, Old Man Labor 1 on Instagram. On Facebook, it's Celso Garcia. And so the truth just has to come out. The truth, you can't cover up the truth. The Epstein stuff is ugly. Everything's coming out, but like, how long can you keep not wanting to answer to anyone? Not wanting to listen to the regular people, right? That's the problem, that we don't listen to the regular people. we do everything for the rich. And until that changes, nothing's going to change. There's never going to be world peace as long as we're greedy, because greed overcomes anything we do. Greed is the driving force behind a lot of the rich people. And until we overcome that, we're never going to change. And there's never going to be world peace, because everyone's trying to pull to their side. Everyone's trying to help their own country, their own countrymen. And, but really, in the end of the day, they just worry about the ones that have money, the rich. And until we acknowledge that, things will never change. But
I do want to say I'm glad to see you're still out there kicking and you're still voicing your opinion. Man.
Yeah, we all gotta voice our opinion. That's just life.
I know we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I'm glad to see you again.
All right. So, but I appreciate you all. May you have a good night, and we're gonna talk in the morning. Tomorrow, let's see what new things happen, because there's too much to keep up with. The world news has been out of control lately, right? It's been out of control. Every day is something new. It's very stressful for the average person to keep up to all the things that are happening across the board, right? You can't keep up with the news. It's moving too fast, too many things happening. I hope that we're okay. I would hate to see our economy collapse, or for us to have more serious, long war, because war is expensive. We're spending more than $150 million a day. That's not including the more. Those are just conservative numbers, in other words. These are just numbers that are not exactly what we expect, right? Because every bomb is a few $1 million. Some might be even more, depending on the type of bomb and the specialty of the bomb. So, but I appreciate you. All right? I appreciate you.
I could guarantee you, brother, we're fine.
We'll be fine, but
we will be fine.
For the rest of the world, to be expensive.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's
right.
Part, that's part of how things work, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you say, like we don't get choice over
Yeah.
there. That's
Exactly.
the disappointing thing. So.
Yeah.
It was hit in an attack likely carried out by a UAV, according to Axios' Barak Ravid. There are penetration aids
100%
used to block interceptors. These images tell you everything the Pentagon briefings will not. What you are
Yeah,
looking
we'll
at
be
is an
okay,
Iranian
but
ballistic re-entry vehicle
we'll
escorted by
see.
a swarm of penetration aids.
Right.
Decoys engineered to simultaneously exhaust and blind every
Well,
layer of the defensive stack.
take care
Patriot
of
in the
yourself,
terminal
all right?
phase,
Have a good
that in the
night,
upper
okay?
atmosphere, Arrow 3 in space. This is purpose-built solution for a
Everyone have a
specific
good
problem.
night.
This is
Nice
ChatGPT.
seeing you all.
And the
I
problem Iran was
appreciate you
solving was the entire architecture.
joining me.
Washington spent hundreds of billions constructing and sold the world the lie that these systems are impenetrable. Capacity was already dangerously low after
I
last
really
June.
appreciate everyone.
Don't know if you saw both of the Clintons' depositions have been
I really
released
do
as of
appreciate
3
everyone.
hours ago. Yeah, I can't focus on that
we
right
gotta
now. There's
learn
also
how to get
riots taking
along.
place in Bahrain.
And I don't think
Bahrain,
we
the
can get
majority Shia
along.
population,
Is too great.
is very frustrated, not with the strikes necessarily, but using this as an opportunity to basically fight back against the state itself. Will the GCC join the war, brother? What can the Gulf states do to join the war? They don't. With what army? I mean, literally, with what army? What are they going to do? Is the UAE going to send the RSF with their? Are they going to use the rapid support forces, or are they going to just ship them out?
Work today is broken. Every day.
That's the problem, right? That's the problem, people. That we live in a fractured world. That's it. As much as we don't want it to be fractured, we live in a world that's fractured, that it's divided against each other. Is it biblical? Some people say it's biblical, that or it's part of Notre Dame. There's a lot of things that people are saying or speculating on, and they're in their right? They're in their right to believe whatever they want to believe, right? Everyone's in their right. Let's see Hassan's new video. Let me add him to the stage. Hassan's new video.
The global war had not happened, and Americans broadly recognize it as a failure. And Israel had not committed a heinous for the past 2.5 years, while demanding unlimited fealty from the everyday American and also telling them to shut the fuck up or else they get fired.
To the Iranian people.
Have faith in yourselves. You are a nation with an ancient civilization. I know how proud you are of your heritage, how important Iran.
All right, enough. The real Shah of Iran is talking.
History. Now, the joint U.S.-Israel campaign to crush the radical regime in Iran is ahead of schedule, according to President
We're interrupting this. We're interrupting this interview between Reza Pahlavi.
It's just bizarre what's happening, and I hope we learn from this and we realize that, man, we let this Trump get away with anything. He could do whatever he wants. He said it. I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it because I'm rich and I'm a white man. I could get away with whatever I want. And I think now that he would probably get away with unaliving somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. He's not wrong because they're letting him get away with everything and anything. But let me not get into it too deep. Have a good night, everyone. I appreciate you joining me on the stream. Have a good night. Many blessings. May God be with you and stay out of trouble. And let's keep debating. Comment below, double tap, share, like, and follow. Remember that. Share, like, and follow. That easy. Take care. Have a good night, everyone.